Hey, what's happening? My name is Ross. I want to talk today about wealth inequality. When I was a younger man and I was poor, and I've been poor, I've been broke. I lived in the backseat of my '92 Chevy Cavalier for some months. I've been poor, but wealth inequality was never something that I worried about. It was something that I thought, people are exaggerating. It's not that big of a deal. But it seems to me I keep noticing more and more there is wealth equality in America. It seems like the middle class is getting hollowed out. Uh, so the other day, I was watching a documentary from Ray Diallo. It's called "The Principles of Dealing with the Changing World Order" by Ray Dalio. Ray Dalio, not Diallo. Dalio. Ray Dalio. But in that, he talks about the big cycles. He studied all of these economies that have collapsed over time. The Romans, the Egyptians, and all of these. He says one of the things along the cycle is a financial bubble and then wealth inequality. And I personally happen to believe America is in a decline. We're not going to be the great empire, that we have been over the past. All the other countries are catching up. So I think this is kind of a sign of America in decline. So I just want to go through a couple of articles that I've come across lately over the last few days that kind of put the wealth inequality in America on display. So right now, 40% of Americans are struggling to pay their bills. This is a article out of Money. And I won't read the whole article. I'm just going to go over some highlights, just the points. I'll leave the link in the description below so you can read it yourself. You should do your own research. Don't listen to me. I'm just some rando on the internet. For more than 91 million U.S. adults, affording a typical household expense is somewhat difficult or very difficult, according to data released this week by the Census Bureau. That accounts for 40% of Americans who responded to the Bureau's survey between June 29th and July 11th. So that was just a few months ago. A money analysis of census data shows that 40% is the highest share of Americans having trouble paying their bills since the census began asking the question in August 2020. For comparison, at this point last year, 27% of respondents say they were having somewhat or very difficult time covering household expenses. So it's gone up 13% since last year. According to Ryan Sweet, an economist at Moody's Analytics, the typical household must spend $493 more per month to buy the same amount of goods or services as last year. That's almost $6,000 a year. That's a pretty big jump for somebody who's on the middle to lower middle income or even low income. To cope, Americans are turning to credit cards en masse. The cruel catch-22: interest rate on credit cards are simultaneously rising due to several rate hikes from the Federal Reserve, which is taking action in an effort to tamp down inflation. So Americans are using their credit cards to make ends meet. At the worst possible time you should be using your credit card is when you're in financial straits and they're using their credit cards. And another story out of CNBC, another article out of CMC, 63% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, including nearly half of six-figure earners. With persistent inflation eroding wages gains, the number of Americans living paycheck to paycheck is near historic high, according to a recent report. Almost half of those earning more than $100,000 say they are just getting by. As of September, 63% of Americans were living paycheck to paycheck, according to a recent Lending Club report, near the 64% high hit in March a year ago. The number of adults who felt strain was closer to 57%. So we've gone from 57% last year to 63% this year, according to this survey done by Lending Survey. The stories just continue to go on. 66% of American workers are worse off financially than a year ago due to inflation, report finds. This is from October 19th. Now, two-thirds of adults, that's 66%, say they are worse off than they were just 1 year ago, according to a recent report. Nearly 1 in 3 workers, that's 33%, including those earning more than $100,000, run out of money before payday. Nearly 3/4 or 72% of consumers have less in savings than last year, a jump from 55% who said the same in February, the report found, and 29% said they have wiped out their savings entirely. The report is based on a survey of 500 adults in August. So I could go on and on with the stories about that are showing that times are getting tougher. Your average person is having difficulty making ends meet. That's your lower middle class, your lower class, right, and maybe into your middle class, right. There, it says here people that are making more than $100,000 are having trouble, difficulty. So, but let's take a look at the other side. Bentley reports highest ever third quarter results. This is from the Audi Media Center. So Audi owns Bentley, I think. Operating profits more than double year to date to 575 million euros. Previous highest full year total profit was 389 million euros. So we're not even done with the year yet. It's only we're only through 3 quarters, and they're at 575 million for the year. We're not done with the year yet. Their previous high for a full year, 389 million. Bentleys are selling off the chains right now. 23.1% return on sales, highest recorded in Bentley history. Sales to date increased 3% to 11,316 cars. So the increase in their car sales was not that big, only 3%. But that equated to them to a very big, a very large growth in profits. So they must have raised the price of their cars or something. They didn't sell that many more, but their profit was off the chains. Year-to-date sales were up 3% to 11,316 luxury cars, while revenue increased from 1.949 billion euros in 2021 to 2.490 billion euros this year, a 28% growth rate. This was largely due to the popularity of new model derivatives and personalization options available through Bentley Mulliner, the oldest coach builder in the world. So again, you can see the 3% increase in sales resulted in a 28% increase in revenue. People are still buying Bentleys. These people aren't having trouble at all. But it's not just Bentley. Take a look at Lamborghini. Recession-proof, Lamborghini is sold out into 2024. Exotic car company cannot keep up with its orders. The exotic automaker reported Monday that it sold 7,430 vehicles this year through September, an 8% increase over the same period in 2021. So their car sales went up by 8%. Bentley's up 3%, Lamborghini's up 8%. That included 4,834 Uru SUVs, its bestseller, and 15 $500,000 Aventador Ultimae supercars that were rebuilt after the originals were lost on the Felicity Ace cargo ship, which sank in the Atlantic Ocean after a fire in March. So they lost, what was that? That's like $7.5 million, $7 million, something like that. Lamborghini said it had to restart the assembly line for the out of production Aventador to fulfill the order. So they had to restart the assembly line after this ship crashed in the Atlantic Ocean. We've already had 18 to 19 months waiting period for a new car. Lamborghini CEO Stefan Wilkelman told Fox Business, "We're selling more cars than we're able to produce." So again, it doesn't look like people are having problems buying these Lamborghinis. They're making record profits. They're selling more cars than they ever have. They're sold out into next year. Winkleman said the company expects to finish the year strong and then settle into a few years of stable sales as it refreshes the 3-model lineup through 2025. This process starts with the replacement for the Aventador that arrives next year as a hybridized V12 powered 2-seater Lamborghini that already has 3,000 orders. So, and this is the Uru here, counts for 50% of the Lamborghini sales. So again, it's it's feast or famine. Either you're having problems trying to struggle to pay bills, or you're buying Lamborghinis. But wait, there's more. Defying gloom, Ferrari sees strong demand for luxury cars. So Bentley, Lamborghini, Ferrari. The Italian car maker set orders for its new 390,000 euro, that's $385,000. Porsche 4-seater has outstripped even its most ambitious expectations. It has also pushed up prices by mid-single-digit levels on its existing models to offset the impact of inflation. So it's raised prices on its cars, call it 4 to 6%, mid-single-digit levels. We are also very positive for next year. This is thanks to the order book that we have that is spanning all the products as well as all the regions, Vigna said. With the exceptions of a few models, our entire range is sold out. They're sold out for 2023. So again, I just think it's indicative of the middle class being hollowed out. It's either feast or famine. It seems to me now pretty soon you're going to have to be making 6 figures to even be in the middle class. Your household's going to have to be bringing in, $110,000, $115,000, $120,000 to be considered middle class. And That's in the middle of the country. We're not even talking about on the coast, these expensive cities like New York, Boston, uh, uh, LA, San Francisco. So, um, again, do you think wealth inequality is a problem? Like I said, when I was a young man, I never worried about it, but it seems to me that it's more evident now than ever. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention, and this is going to be a problem for the country. When people are struggling to eat, and you see others who are living in the laps of luxury, there is bound to be some social discord. And you know, as of late, the last few years, social discords means riots. People see stuff they don't like anymore, and they go out and they start burning stuff down. So I don't know. Tell me what you think in the comments. Once again, my name is Ross. If you made it this far in the video, please consider giving me a like or even a subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, but it would help me out immensely. Peace.